Hi there, I'm Renos Vakis, lead economist at the World Bank, and your host for Accelerating Development Ideas for Impact. This is not your typical podcast. It's an AI powered conversation brought to you by the World Bank Institute for Economic Development, where we unpack the latest research with one goal in mind turning big ideas into real world impact. Let's get started.
Thank you for the introduction, Renos. It's really a pleasure to be here on our show today to, delve into something that's truly essential for global development, migration, and the impact it has, on societies, and discuss the 2023 World Development Report, Migrants, Refugees, and Societies.
Indeed. And it's such a complex topic, isn't it? So, to kick us off, could you explain the central framework this report introduces for understanding migration?
Absolutely. So, this report proposes what the World Bank calls a match motive framework, and it's designed to guide policy making, pulling together insights from both labor economics and also international law.
Okay, so what exactly do you mean by match and motive in this context?
Well, the match refers to how well a migrant's skills and their attributes align with the specific needs of the destination country. And the motive is about the circumstances driving their movement, whether they're searching for opportunities or perhaps fleeing persecution, armed conflict, or violence.
That makes sense. And I hear this framework distinguishes four types of movements. Can you elaborate on those?
Yes, exactly. The framework identifies four distinct types, each with its own policy priorities. So, first, there is the economic migrants with a strong match. These are the vast majority of migrants moving for better opportunities, and their skills, well, they align perfectly with destination country needs.
Like the Indian engineers in Silicon Valley or Bangladeshi workers in the United Arab Emirates that were mentioned in the report.
Precisely. These movements generate substantial development benefits for the migrants themselves, as well as the destination and origin countries. Migrants often earn significantly higher wages. For example, low-skilled migrants like Yemenis and Nigerians moving to the United States see their income surge.
That's a really important distinction because these income gains for international migration are, in many cases, many times greater than gains from internal migration that was observed in Bangladesh, Ghana, and India.
Yes, and destination countries benefit too. There's increased labor productivity, lower consumer prices, and stronger business links. In fact, migrants often make positive net fiscal contributions, especially in OECD countries. And origin countries, they benefit from remittances, which are huge source of income in places like Tonga, Lebanon, and Tajikistan, and from valuable knowledge transfers. The policy goal here ultimately is to maximize gains for everyone involved.
Fascinating. So, what's the second type of movement?
The second type is refugees with a strong match. These individuals are fleeing persecution or serious harm, but they happen to possess skills that match the destination country's needs. The report mentioned Syrian entrepreneur refugees in Turkey as an example.
So, even though their primary motive is fear, their skills still bring benefits to the host country?
Yes, they absolutely do. Their movement brings development benefits similar to those of voluntary migrants. And importantly, under international law, destination countries are obligated to host them regardless of their economic contribution. The policy objective here is to further increase those net gains.
Okay, so what about refugees whose skills don't necessarily align with the destination's country's needs?
That brings us to the third type, refugees with a weak match. These individuals are also fleeing fear, but their skills don't match the society's needs. The Rohingya in Bangladesh are a very poignant example of this.
And what are the implications there?
Well, accommodating these refugees comes at a net cost to the destination country, often concentrated in a small number of neighboring nations. The report highlights that the international community spends an average of 585 US dollars per refugee per year in low and lower middle income countries. However, due to international law, these individuals must be accommodated irrespective of costs. The policy goal is to ensure sustainability and share these costs, requiring a medium term perspective in managing refugee situations.
That must be incredibly challenging. What's the final category of movement?
The fourth type involves what's called distressed migrants, those with a weak match and no fear motive. These individuals are seeking opportunities, but their skills are a poor match for the destination society. Their movements are often irregular and extremely unsafe. Think of the poorly skilled migrants at the US southern border.
I see. And the challenges there must be immense, right?
They are. These movements are associated with tremendous suffering. The report notes that nearly 50,000 migrants have died in transit between 2014 and 2023. Destination countries retain the prerogative to regulate entry, but deportation or refusal of entry can lead to inhumane treatment. The policy objective is therefore to reduce the need for such distressed migration and ensure that all migrants are treated humanely. This can be achieved by strengthening resilience in origin countries and shifting incentives through legal pathways.
This brings us to why better data is so crucial. What are the current challenges in collecting migration data?
Well, one of the biggest issues is inconsistent definitions and significant data gaps. Consistency across data sources, countries, and over time is uh, just essential, but it's often lacking. For example, many population censuses don't collect basic and consistent data with varying questions about country of birth, citizenship, or date of arrival.
So you're saying it's hard to get a clear, coherent picture.
Precisely. Then there are timeliness, accessibility, and coverage issues. Censuses are typically only conducted every 10 years, which, well, it means they can't capture rapid changes in migration pattern. Population registers are often limited to higher income countries, and they frequently undercount undocumented or marginalized population.
And if I recall, the report mentioned that administrative data, while promising, often isn't shared or harmonized due to national security, privacy, or bureaucratic concerns.
That's absolutely right. And household and labor force surveys, while rich in information, are usually infrequent and rarely large enough to capture meaningful data about migrants. Even newer data sources like mobile phone records or social media, they suffer from experimental methodologies, low statistical rigor, and inherent biases.
I remember reading something about remittance data discrepancies as well.
Yes, a significant gap exists between reported global remittances received and those sent, reaching almost 40% in 2020. At the country level, reports of both inflows and outflows can be inconsistent with economic fundamentals and fluctuate dramatically. It just further highlights the need for, well, better, more reliable data.
So, to summarize, why exactly do we need better data for policymaking?
High quality data are crucial for understanding migration's magnitude, its drivers like climate change, and its broader impacts. They help evaluate how remittances contribute to poverty reduction in origin countries and how specific measures can enhance these effects. In destination countries, data are needed to assess migrant skills, their labor market participation, effects on productivity, and overall social integration dynamics.
It sounds like for such a complex and often polarizing issue as migration, reliable and timely data are, well, essential for effective policymaking.
Indeed, data are also needed to compare outcomes of different migration policies and to correct for possible biases in analysis, especially given the diversity of situations among migrants and societies.
So, what are the key recommendations for improving this data landscape?
First, harmonized and clearer standards are needed. Efforts are needed to improve the consistency of definitions and methodologies across data sources, including mandating core questions in censuses such as country of birth, citizenship, previous residence, and year of arrival.
And the report mentioned the expert group on refugee, IDP, and statelessness statistics, as well as the International Labor Organization, have already developed methodological recommendations for data collection, correct?
Yes, they have. A focus on evidence building and innovative surveys is also important. Investing in new types of surveys, like longitudinal studies, is needed to track migrants across borders and over time to better understand the impacts of migration and integration processes. And adjusting existing general survey programs to include migration related questions can be a cost effective option for improvement.
And finally, how do we address data accessibility and privacy? That's a big one.
It is. Facilitating access to data while ensuring confidentiality is paramount. This includes strengthening legal and regulatory instruments, enhancing administrative data systems, establishing data license agreements, and developing shared secure architectures. Transparency about data usage and migrants' awareness of their rights are also absolutely critical. Initiatives like the Open Data Initiative are really models for making data publicly available to increase knowledge and support solutions.
That's a lot to think about. A lot of important issues. Thank you so much for shedding light on the complexities of migration and the urgent need for better data and strategic policy.
My pleasure. It's a crucial topic, and we hope this discussion helps policymakers worldwide. Over to you, Rena.
Thank you for joining us. You can find the full report on our website. Just follow the link in the description. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know about upcoming episodes. And before you go, how do you plan to put what you learn into practice? And what topics you'd like us to explore next? We'd love to know. Until then, goodbye.